If you grew up in the 2010s, you know we had it very good when it came to music groups. We had One Direction, Fifth Harmony, Little Mix, and 5 Seconds of Summer. But speaking now in 2026, only one of those groups are still together to this day. Why is that? Hi, my name is Semirah. Welcome back to my channel where I discuss music and pop culture. In today's video, we're going to be exploring why Five Sauce, 5 Seconds of Summer, is the only group from 2011, 2012, and onwards that hasn't broken up, has no plans on breaking up, and what makes them stand out from the other groups I mentioned before. What does 5 Seconds of Summer have that the other three groups don't have? Little Mix, One Direction, Fifth Harmony, as great as they were formed on the X Factor, with Little Mix and One Direction being on the UK version and Fifth Harmony on the US version. So that means those three groups were co-workers first and foremost. They may have developed their friendships. And yes, that includes Fifth Harmony because I am actually over this narrative that Fifth Harmony all hated each other the whole time and blah blah blah. As someone who was a fan of them at that time, I don't believe that to be true, but that's a different story for a different video for a different day. Honestly, I am kind of ashamed to say that I'm kind of late on the Five Sauce train. When I was younger, I knew their big songs on the radio. She looks so perfect. She's kind of hot. Heartbreak Girl, which I know they hate. Amnesia. I knew all these songs, but I still didn't really look into them. And then I kind of forgot about them. 2018, they came back. Youngblood was huge. Still, I didn't look into them. It wasn't until 2025, one of their old music videos appeared on my YouTube suggested, and I realized, I never even realized what they looked like. That sounds really bad. I don't really know much about 5 Seconds of Summer, so I watched that music video that came up. I started watching more, watching interviews, went down this whole rabbit hole watching interviews, tour diaries. Then I decided to listen to their entire discography within a week. And it's safe to say I became a fan. I even saw them for the first time on their tour that they're on right now, Everyone's a Star, like last week. Great show. I wish I'd gotten better seats than I've gotten, but it is what it is. So again, like I said, I went down this rabbit hole only last year, 2025. And so I was thinking, oh, they're still together. One Direction is not, Fifth Harmony is not, Little Mix is not, but they are. Why is that? So again, this group is still here. They passed the test of time. They've been together for 15 years now and apparently have no plans of breaking up. To get into the reason why, we have to get into their origin story, okay? So as I said before, they weren't formed on the X Factor or any type of TV show. They were just normal kids growing up in the suburbs of Sydney, Australia, and they just really loved music. They got together because they loved music. It wasn't the cool thing to do at that time, but they just did it because they loved it. So, for anyone who doesn't know, the members are Luke Hemmings, Callum Hood, Ashton Irwin, and Michael Clifford. In the beginning of the band, it was just Luke, Michael, and Callum posting covers on YouTube together, growing up in school together. And later on, Michael had sent Ashton this long message asking them to be their drummer. And fun fact, Luke's mom was a math teacher and actually taught Ashton a few years before, and Ashton is a couple years older than the rest of the guys in the group. After Ashton accepted the invitation to join the band, they started playing shows together. They started at this hotel, I believe it's called the Annandale Hotel in Sydney, at the end of 2011. They kept on performing. They were able to sign a publishing deal with Sony and ATV Publishing and released 2 EPs. And then eventually, Louis Tomlinson from One Direction tweeted about them and basically invited them to be their opener on One Direction's Take Me Home tour. And they were kind of iffy on this because at first they didn't really want to be seen as a boy band. You know, boy bands can sometimes have the more superficial stereotype and glossy image, and one big thing about Five Sauce is that they played their instruments. They wanted to show that they played their instruments. But of course, they did end up accepting the invitation to open up for One Direction because One Direction was like the biggest group in the world at this time. Like, you would be silly to pass that up. They eventually signed with Capitol Records. They had their own imprint, I believe, called High or Hey Records. And this is where they released their first two albums. Their first album was a self-titled album, and the other one, the second one, was called Sounds Good Feels Good. And these are where the like popular songs that any casual person like I was at one point would know them for. Like, she looks so perfect, she's kind of hot and all that. And after their second album released in 2015, they took a little bit of a break and came back in 2018, first with the first single of their eventual third album. The single was called Want You Back, and it was from their third album, Youngblood. And when Youngblood was released, it was big. I remember I used to hear it on the radio a lot at that time. And again, as I said earlier, that's what kind of reminded me of their existence, honestly. And I added the song to my playlist, but I didn't end up like listening more listening to more of their music yet. And that's really ironic because after I listened to their whole thing, I really love the album, Youngblood. Their self-titled album and Sounds Good Feels Good has this pop punk element, while Youngblood has this more synth pop, electronic leaning sound. They had began to evolve, and that's really important as an artist. When you continue to release music, you want to make sure that music evolves with you, evolves with your fans, because your fans get bored, they'll drop you, honestly, and you won't have the longevity that they have now had with their fans. And as time went on, they became more of a niche band, like more like of a niche fan base. And honestly, that goes for most artists these days, because with radio not being as big as it once was, you lose a lot of those casual listeners. But they were able to sustain themselves with the fan base that they had, which was really great for them. So in 2020, they released their fourth studio album called Calm, which is just their initials: Callum, Ashton, Luke, and Michael. And then in 2022, they released their fifth album, Five Sauce 5. I would say Five Sauce 5 is more introspective, more mellow sounding than some of their previous music. I honestly started listening to them just in time. As I said, they released their sixth album in towards the end of 2025, Everyone's a Star. And I think that that is kind of a pivot a little bit back to their pop punk ways, but it's honestly a hybrid. It's a mix of everything. It's a great culmination of where they're at right now. And of course, as I mentioned, they are on tour right now, Everyone's a Star tour, world tour, one of the biggest tours they've ever done, according to them. And on their Everyone's a Star album, they've even started to kind of embrace the boy band label, even making a song with that title. Kind of a cheeky nod to being a boy band and what boy bands go through, being, chased after, the fangirls, all the crazy energy. And they even do this bit on their tour every day. Every show of their tour, they do this bit where they win Boy Band of the Year. Okay, so we got into their history, who they are. Again, why are they still here? While these other groups, One Direction, Fifth Harmony, Little Mix, and others, are not. Well, again, it points back to their origin story. They were friends, first and foremost, before they started working together. Yeah, so it's a mix of genuine friendship, all having a nice collaborative process when it comes to their music, a true camaraderie, friendship. I watched this one interview where they said, like, when they're working on their music and their art, if someone has a criticism of what they're doing, it's not like offensive to them because they know each other so well. They know it's not personal. And sometimes with other groups, you don't know that it's not personal. You might take offense to something because, you might not just be as close. And again, as I said, these other groups, when they auditioned for the X Factor, they did not audition as a group. They auditioned with the intention of becoming a solo artist. Every member of One Direction, Fifth Harmony, Little Mix, they auditioned for their show intending to be in a group, and some of them didn't even want to be in a group at first. And they may have tolerated being in a group, but that inkling, that feeling of needing to be a solo artist, that doesn't just go away, you know? It maybe gets delayed and maybe gets hidden for a little bit, but it doesn't go away. And we see that with every member of the group, any member of any of these groups who have released solo music. And the Five Sauce Boys have done solo stuff as well, but the main priority has always been a band. Their intention from the beginning was always to be a band. And being a band that has longevity, 15 years is a long time. They plan to be a band for even longer, maybe for the rest of their lives. And they all agree on that. I feel like if one person in the group, in the band, didn't agree on that, maybe someone would have left. Maybe they would have just fallen apart already. But the foundation that they have is really important. It is what sustains them. So yeah, having a good foundation, having the same core values really helps. So thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and if you would like to see more music deep dives and commentary on pop culture and all of that. Yeah, thank you for watching. Bye.